top 5 lowest paying jobs in the United States right now. So these are going to be jobs that, if you're in right now, try to not choose another one that's in this video. And if you are in a current job and it's not on this list, don't take a job that's on this list. These are the top 5 lowest paying jobs. So number 1 is a fast food worker. And we're specifically talking about a line worker, not a manager. The reason why is because the demand is very high. So there are a lot of people able to do this job because it's very low skill. So what you have is a huge pool of labor talent that can do this job, and you're competing against 15, 16-year-old kids in high school that are picking up a part-time job after school or in the summers. So if you are an adult looking to support a family, would not recommend taking a fast food job. Um, the fast food restaurants, they are forced to pay minimum wage. If they weren't forced to pay minimum wage, then it would be even lower. And the reason it would be even lower than minimum wage is because there's competition for that labor, and they would be willing to do it for less than a minimum wage. So think of a sophomore in high school. What would he be willing to flip burgers for? Well, he might be willing to flip burgers for $4 an hour. Why? Because what other option does he have? He currently is getting paid $0 an hour. So $4 an hour is an infinite increase in his income. And he has the skills to do it. So minimum wage requires that restaurant to pay him $9.50, or what is minimum wage right now? Let's see. Minimum wage in the United States, 2023, $7.25. So they'd be required to pay that kid $7.25, which is great for the kid, because he'd do it for $4, right? Um, and and what happens is that the folks that actually are worth $7.25 are getting that job, and they might be overqualified. So what happens is that puts the teenager out of work, and that teenager can't get the skills that they need to go get better jobs down the line. So they miss out on that opportunity. And the same applies for homeless folks. So those people who do want a job and aren't just choosing to live on the streets and do drugs, those people can't take the job because they're not worth $7.25, right? So they might only be worth $3.62 an hour, and they'd be willing to work for $3.62 an hour. But it's literally illegal for the restaurant to hire them at $3.62. So what do? They don't hire them at all. So instead of paying them $3.62 an hour, that person's now getting paid $0 an hour, right? They're not getting hired at $7.25 an hour. Why? Because they're not worth $7.25 an hour. Long story short, if you are not a high school student or a homeless person, I wouldn't take a fast food worker job. And that is not to say, that is not to show any disrespect for folks who are trying to support a family as a fast food worker. What I would encourage you to do is to try to develop your skills while you're still in that role as best as you possibly can, and look to be a shift lead, and then look to be a manager, a shift manager, and then look to be a manager of the restaurant, and then maybe take those skills, put them on a resume, and go look for another job that's willing to pay higher for the skill sets that you've now acquired. So use it as a jumping off point and get as much skill and experience out of that role as possible. It should be a springboard. And all of these jobs we're going to go through should be viewed as springboards for your career. All right, next one, retail salesperson. Um, a lot of times this is an entry level position. Most of the time it's high school kids, teenagers that are working, as a retail salesperson at, I don't know, Kohl's, Macy's, Finish Line, a shoe store, um, an outdoor store, something like that. Um, and maybe it's slightly above minimum wage, but it's typically about minimum wage again. So all of the same rules apply there. Um, it's going to depend on store and location, but any sort of store that doesn't require a special skill set, you're probably looking at minimum wage. So retail salesperson, number two. Number three, a farm worker or laborer. So this is someone that's literally working in the fields. Now, in today's time, there's less and less of them because of the advancement in machinery. So you don't have people manually harvesting corn. You typically see a tractor plowing through the field, automatically harvesting this corn. These are $3 million machines, massive tractor machines that farmers will take loans out on. So in a lot of the agriculture states, specifically like the southeast of the U.S., you may see on some of the smaller scale farms laborers, and are typically earning pretty low wages because it's such low skilled work that could easily be replaced by a machine. So if you do find yourself doing that labor, know that you are unique, um, and also know that you should probably be looking for another opportunity because uh, you're not going to be able to get much more earning potential out of that role. And it's probably only a matter of time before your position gets replaced with a machine or that farm goes out of business because it can't afford um, the higher wages of a human in comparison to a machine. So, number four, home health aide. So this is not really a nurse, but something like a nurse where they're at your home. Think of like hospice. So it's at your home, and they take care of usually elderly people, um, someone who's sick or very old, and they can't do normal day to day functions. So they don't need any sort of advanced care from a nurse, but they do need help just getting around, getting their clothes on and off, going to the bathroom, preparing food. Um, so very low skill, which is why you're going to see lower pay. And then number five, janitor/cleaner. Um, Very important work, and I don't think this is ever going away. Obviously, you see automated machines, Roombas come to mind, that can do some cleaning tasks, but nothing's going to replace the level of quality of cleaning that a human can do. So I think you're always going to see nightly janitorial shifts to come in and clean uh, anything and everything. Think about the manufacturing plants, how important it is to have those clean. So every night, having janitors come in and clean, well, that's a much more effective, from a financial perspective. The business, it makes more sense for the business to pay someone to come at night and clean compared to having their workers, spend the last hour of their shift cleaning, right? Because those workers are doing high skilled labor. They don't want to be paying them a high skilled wage to do low skilled labor. So they're going to call in janitors to specialize in cleaning. So they're going to pay the janitor less and they're going to get a better quality work because that's what the janitor specializes in. Now, janitorial work is low skill, does require training, but is low skill, meaning that with a little amount of time almost anyone could learn it. So if you do find yourself in that position and you'd like to earn more, some things to consider would be maybe starting your own janitorial business, um, or getting as many skills as you can. Again, get skills, get experience, put it on a resume, and then look for another opportunity that you can parlay those skills into and earn a higher wage. So those are the top 5 least um, lucrative jobs.